I have more questions than you can imagine, but off air we talked about like what is it like for somebody that is not in that that upper echelon or even the echelon where they can afford to support themselves and their families in their craft. Like what is it like for that person
right now while they're on strike? Yeah.
Yeah, right now it's trying to figure it out, looking for the next job, outside of our decided passion and our decided career path, because that opportunity, at least for that contract, has been taken away. So it's trying to put together the pieces, man. And it's tough. I've talked to a lot of members, and they just don't. They're hopeful that the strike ends soon. Because you got to remember, we just came out of a pandemic.
Yeah.
Where a lot of our work was affected and stopped for years.
Yep.
And then to hit this.
Do you think that the studios thought because we were coming out of the pandemic that you wouldn't have the impetus to strike?
It's hard to get inside their heads because they've been so insane in some ways. But I would say this: I think that they didn't realize that we would have the unity, both within our union and with other unions, and specifically the Writers Guild.
For sure.
So I think that they probably banked on there being some dissension, maybe a quick strike with people getting antsy, but I don't think they prepared for this kind of unity.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful to see this unity, and I think that you saw, we talked last week about, the Drew Barrymores and Bill Maher, and we're gonna come back, and blah blah, and then of course they immediately about face because they just took 40 years of goodwill and flushed it down the toilet.
Yeah,
right. It's just a stupid move.
Yeah,
but from our standpoint, from the building trades, I just remember striking in the middle of the recession. Right?
Yeah.
People are like, "What are you doing?"
It's tough.
And like, "Oh, it's just we got to do what we have to do." But it's good to see labor, and now I'm saying labor, with a big L, meaning you guys and the writers, and the building trades, and IATSE and the Teamsters and everybody that's involved in you, and what just happened with UPS and the UAW right now, right? I mean, look what they're going through.
Yeah.
I mean, there's strike after strike after
Hot
strike.
labor summer.
Right?
Yeah.
And I read an article this morning that 60+% of the country supports what you guys are doing, what the UAW is doing, what the Teamsters did. And that's a big number.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was like 80% Dems, but it was still like 55, 60. Oh, no, it was high 50s for Republicans that normally
That's right.
are not pro-labor. And I think you're starting to see a little bit of a sea change, and you guys are doing what I think is God's work, because you are bringing to light, the disparity between executive pay, executive compensation, and the worker bee.
Hi, I'm Ed Maher. You just watched a clip from The Workers' Mic. You can find our shows anytime on YouTube or tune in at 8 a.m. on Sunday mornings on 720 WGN.